hold your breath, don't look down, keep trying. Darling.
Epilepsy is a condition in which a person has repeating seizures. Many people with epilepsy have more than one type of seizure and may have other symptoms of neurological problems as well. Epilepsy is the fourth most common neurological disorder and affects people of all ages. In their lifetime, 1 in 26 people in the United States will develop epilepsy at some point. Although it is common, public perception and treatment of people with epilepsy are often bigger problems than the actual seizures.
I'm not a soldier.
A seizure is a change in a person's behavior that comes from abnormal electrical activity in the brain. Most seizures occur without a warning, although some people have an aura, which include a funny feeling, a stomach ache, or a weird smell or taste. Others find that certain triggers bring on seizures, such as lack of sleep, flashing lights, or not taking their medication. Seizures are classified into two main groups: generalized seizures and vocal seizures. Generalized seizures affect both sides of the brain. During a generalized seizure, you may bite your cheek or tongue, lock your jaw, lose control of your bladder, and turn blue in the face. The two most common types of generalized seizures are absence seizures and tonic-clonic seizures. Absence seizures, also called petit mal seizures, can cause rapid blinking or a few seconds of staring into space. These seizures may be difficult to spot. Tonic-clonic seizures, also called grand mal seizures, can make a person cry out, lose consciousness, fall to the ground, have muscle jerks or spasms. The person may feel very tired after a tonic-clonic seizure. Vocal seizures are located in just one area of the brain. These seizures can also be called partial seizures. Three common types of vocal seizures are simple vocal seizures, complex vocal seizures, and secondary generalized seizures. Simple vocal seizures affect a small part of the brain. These seizures can cause twitching or change in sensation, such as a strange taste or smell. Complex vocal seizures can make a person with epilepsy confused or dazed. The person will be unable to respond to questions or direction for up to a few minutes. Secondary generalized seizures begin in one part of the brain, but then spread to both sides of the brain. In other words, the person first has a vocal seizure followed by a generalized seizure. So what do you do if you see a friend, a stranger, or family member having a seizure? First, move anything that could harm the person. Next, put something soft and flat under the person's head to prevent an injury. Then turn the person gently to one side to prevent choking and loosen anything around the person's neck. Make sure to stay calm and that the area is cleared out. Also, make sure to check for medical alert identification and time how long the seizure lasts to then give the information to the medical authorities. Some don'ts to keep in mind are to not hold the person, stop any movements or tongue biting, and open or put something in their mouth. Now you should call 911 if it is the person's first seizure, if the seizure lasts longer than 5 minutes, the seizure occurred in water, if the person has diabetes or a high fever, if there is a risk of a head injury, or if the person is having trouble breathing after the seizure.
I was about 7, and I noticed in class I was always zoning off. I knew what was going on. Socially, I was a bit off, and I told my mom what was going on, in tears actually. A year later, I get diagnosed with epilepsy, so it's been a long road.
Hi, I'm Jake. I am 18 years old. I was first diagnosed with epilepsy when I was a freshman in high school, 14 years old.
Hi, I'm Brenna, and I was diagnosed with epilepsy when I was in 7th grade.
Jack's 3rd grade teacher. I went in for a parent conference, and my husband couldn't make it with me, so it was just myself. And she said, I have to tell you something. I'm like, what? She goes, when I received my class roster in the end of the summer and I saw your son's name on the list, I was petrified. And I wanted to go to the principal and say, please remove this child from my list. And I was thinking to myself, why are you telling me this? And she said, back in high school, someone had a seizure in the locker room in front of me, and it scared me. And so we all left and we ran. And when I was in college, I couldn't get that out of my mind. I had to go to therapy because of the guilt I felt over leaving her there by herself without helping her. And she said, I went through all this therapy, and now I have your child in my class, and I wanted to run, but I didn't. And she said, I'm so thankful because your son put a face to epilepsy and helped me to realize that, okay, now I can help people and support them. And it was just like this amazing story of how she came full circle. And she was probably one of the most supportive teachers. She was the one that encouraged Jack to speak out. She was the one that had Jack write a letter when he was going to the hospital. She was just like amazing.
I think it's just weird that everyone has that one defining moment that really creates something and makes them want to speak out or makes them want to inform other people about it, even though it's so common.
Yeah, we all have that defining moment.
At my worst, I used to have 100 seizures a day.
I was first diagnosed with epilepsy when I was a freshman in high school, 14 years old.
I collapsed and had a seizure when my mom was pulling out of the driveway.
I can't tell you how long I've been going to these national epilepsy walks. It's been a while, but I can tell you that it's amazing to meet other people with what you have. And I think when I met those people and I can relate to them, that's something that told me, like, this is what I'm going to do when I'm older. I'm going to help other people with epilepsy.
I decided to create awareness when I realized how comfortable I was with having epilepsy and how uncomfortable people around me were with having epilepsy, like my little cousin, or just people that I'd see in the doctor's office that almost looked embarrassed to be there.
So when I was offered with the opportunity for my Girl Scout Gold Award project to create awareness about something, I did believe epilepsy was the best thing because it does occur in 1 in every 26 people, and so it's very common. And
When I first told people about it when I was in 3rd grade, I wrote a note to my class telling them about what I had and where I was. I was in the hospital at the time, and told them that, like, kind of like my brain freezes, kind of what happens when I have a seizure. They were very supportive about it, something I did not expect, and still to this day, they've been very supportive in helping me through it.
I received a lot of support from all of my friends and family. Everybody was very helpful in asking what they should do if they were ever around me having a seizure, or what they could do to prevent a seizure, which there isn't much anyone else around you could do besides making sure you're on your medication.
That next day I received a lot of "Are you okays?" and I just wanted to make sure that you were okay. I had actually gotten a message from a friend on Instagram and just said, like, oh, like, our class all saw you and we wanted to make sure that you were okay and feeling better. And I felt a lot of support through that time, which didn't make me feel uncomfortable.
I was actually homeschooled in 7th grade, and also I was 8 years old all the way up to this point in my life. I've always had extra time on work because of what I've been through, and that's been very helpful. It's life-changing. From epilepsy, I did have depression, I had anxiety, so socially I was awkward. My senior year, I missed all of my wrestling season because of new medication and my seizures coming back. Towards the end of the season of football, my senior year as well, I couldn't play. I was dealing with that all my life, and up to this point, actually, I'm doing better. So.
It was tough to balance the 3 of those, but I wouldn't say it was any tougher than another high schooler having to balance the 2 of those. athletics and academics. I tried my best to keep epilepsy from preventing me from doing anything that my friends were able to do.
I was in a comic book called Meta Kids, and what it did was it explains to younger kids what happens during a seizure and what epilepsy is. So it gives them opportunity to understand it without a doctor explaining it with like all these, I guess, technical ways to explain it. I also went to Washington, D.C. twice to explain to representatives in New Jersey about what epilepsy is, how many people are affected, what can we do to help, and raise some money. When I was in 8th grade, the Meta Kids actually called me, and because they know of all the work I've done, they're like, "You be part of this comic book?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'd love to. It'd be awesome." And they interviewed me. We made the comic book, and I knew that it would help a lot of people, and that's probably the main reason why I did it.
I've created awareness for epilepsy by being on posters for the Anita Kaufman Foundation, being on bookmarks for the Anita Kaufman Foundation. I've participated in Purple Day events with the Anita Kaufman Foundation. The Anita Kaufman Foundation is one of a bunch of little foundations across New Jersey and America that their goal is to raise awareness for epilepsy and just hopefully find a cure for the disease. I think a lot of teens should know how to see epilepsy and how to see a seizure when it's taking a course, because there's little twitches or little verbal miscues that many people would just not realize is a seizure, and it could be a seizure. And when you let those go unnoticed, it can end up in a harmful seizure.
I just want to gain a lot of people have epilepsy, and if you have it, you're not alone. And if you know someone that has it, it doesn't make them any different. They're people, just like you, and you can still have a life with epilepsy, and you can still be a regular, everyday person.
Where are you now when darkness seems to win? Where are you now when the world is crumbling? Oh, I hear you say, look up, child.